been bothering me for a while. There's this idea that in order to get better at something, you need to practice daily. This is especially prevalent in things like gaming and art. However, what if I told you this is a lie? At least to some degree. You see, while practicing is important, in my experience, practicing constantly can actually limit your growth. The first time I really became aware of this was when I took a break from Minecraft. You see, for a very long time, I used to play Minecraft on an almost daily basis. However, at some point, I got bored and stopped playing for a while. And let me tell you, the amount of growth I've seen from binging Minecraft once every few months is insane. I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I've improved far more since I stopped playing daily. Another example of this is Forza Horizon 4. Let me tell you, I was complete dog shit at Forza for the longest time. Admittedly, I still am pretty bad at it. But I can now at least stay on the road with a normal car. On screen I have a comparison between my performance now with a regular car versus my performance with an extremely hard to control car. The hard to control car represents my average gameplay a few years back when I'd play Forza for hours. And this is not an exaggeration, I legitimately used to be unable to control a basic vehicle to the point where it looked like a heap of junk in just 30 minutes of gameplay. Next, let's look at Dead Space Remake. There was one section that was damn near impossible when I first played it about a year and a half ago. I was just getting my ass handed to me again and again, just unable to progress and feeling like I would need to restart the game. After booting it up in February this year, however, I beat that section in 0.5 seconds, no joke. Within a week, I had found myself at the end credits, having completed the game I once thought was way too difficult. Finally for games, we have Osu. Admittedly, I'm still trash at Osu, but that has less to do with practice and more to do with Osu being an insanely fast game and hard to improve at. When I first started OSU 3 years ago, I sucked ass. I could barely play a 1-star map. Eventually, I grinded to be able to beat most 2-star maps, and then just stopped improving. Maybe it was the intensity of the gameplay, maybe it was because I switched to Bluetooth headphones, maybe it was lack of interest. But all of a sudden, I couldn't perform as well as I did previously. The solution? Time and playing other rhythm games. Progress has been slow, but I'm able to finally beat, or nearly beat, a select amount of 3-star maps consistently. Am I saying that practice is bad? No. What I am saying is that sometimes instead of banging your head against a wall, it's important to take a breather. This leads me to an especially relevant example: art. You see, people tend to think that you need to draw daily to improve as an artist. That just isn't the case. In fact, I feel like I've improved more at my craft from doing an occasional reference piece than I ever did when I had classes. Simply put, in my experience, all drawing regularly ever did for me was cause me to burn out and not want to do art. Maybe that's because it was just too much work. Maybe it was because of my ADHD. All I know is, as long as you do something occasionally, you won't really get that much worse over time. And for example, here's some of my most recent reference work compared to when I was an arts major. And as another example, here's 2 different drawings of a specific place, with only a handful of drawings between the 4 months between them. Sure, you might need a bit of time to de-rest, but eventually you'll be able to improve no matter the subject.